Hi, friends. I'm Rebecca Faust, and this is What We Don't Say, where we have honest conversations about fear, patterns, growth, what it looks like to reconnect with yourself. In other words, all the things we experience but don't typically say out loud. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something I reference a lot in coaching and my own life. It's what I and the coaching program I train through call our survival mechanism. A lot of people think fear is the problem. I don't. I think fear is often trying to protect us or tell us something. The problem isn't fear itself. The problem is when fear quietly, unconsciously starts running the show. It's running the meeting, the relationship, our decisions, our day, and we don't even realize it. That's what I want to talk about today. For me, when fear shows up, one of my survival mechanisms often goes one of two ways. I either avoid the thing and feel like the laziest person on the planet, or I overplan everything into oblivion and call it productivity. That's one of my survival mechanisms, and I'll come back to that. First, let's talk about fear. Honestly, this feels like one of those what we don't say conversations because a lot of us don't talk about fear. And a lot of us don't even realize fear is part of what's happening. Or we think if fear is there, it has to look big, loud, obvious, panic, anxiety, shaking, crying, wanting to run. But in my experience, personally and in coaching, fear often whispers. Sometimes it looks like procrastination, over planning, staying busy. Sometimes it looks like people pleasing, saying, I don't know, disappearing, over functioning, proving, pushing. And especially for high achieving, over giving women, many of us were taught feel the fear and do it anyway. Push through, be strong, don't let it hold you back. And there is 100% value in courage. We'll talk about that in another episode. But here's what I've also learned. If we never stop to notice fear, we can keep pushing ourselves into decisions, roles, relationships, or expectations that aren't actually aligned with us, with who we want to be in the world, with the life we want to live. I can see this in my own life. Part of why I climbed the corporate ladder was because I genuinely loved supporting people through leadership. But if I'm being honest, and that's what we're all here to do, part of it was also proving because some people thought I couldn't climb the ladder. Because of that, I wasn't always sure I could. So achievement and fear got tangled together. And this is why paying attention matters. Fear doesn't always stop us. Sometimes it drives us. And again, this is why talking about it matters. Because when we say it out loud, we can finally work with it instead of unconsciously obeying it. Let's go back to the survival mechanism. What I call our survival mechanism is the part, or really parts, of us whose only job is to keep us safe. This is the part of us that helped humans survive. It kept us running from lions. It allowed us to pull our hand away from a hot stove. It protects. The interesting part is its definition of safe is often always really what's inside our comfort zone because that's where it has the most information. That's where it knows what to expect. The good, the bad, the ugly, the painful, the annoying, all of that. If it's familiar, it's inside our comfort zone and it's quote unquote safe. Anything that's unfamiliar is outside the comfort zone and quote unquote unsafe because predictability often feels safer than uncertainty. So when fear gets activated, fear of rejection, failure, judgment, could be conflict, disappointment, uncertainty, being seen, being misunderstood, our survival mechanism steps in. And that's not bad. It's trying to protect us. When this happens, a lot of us try to fight the fear, override it, shame it, push through it. That's not how I try to look at it. Our goal is not to kill off our survival mechanism because honestly, it has helped us become prepared, dependable, successful, thoughtful, careful, likable, high achieving. It may have genuinely helped us survive hard seasons. So we don't want to shame it. We want to notice it. We want to honor it. We want to work with it. What we don't want is to let it make every decision unconsciously. And that's the difference. This is how I really think about alignment because success and alignment are often about noticing and choosing intentionally. The first step is noticing what is happening right now. Am I over planning, procrastinating, people pleasing, shutting down, withdrawing, exploding, over functioning? And if you're not sure, it may help to think about what people close to you already notice. That's pattern noticing. Once we notice this pattern, instead of asking ourselves, which I'm sure a lot of us have a tendency to do, what is wrong with me? We want to practice asking, what is this trying to protect me from or make me aware of? Maybe it's rejection, failure, conflict, uncertainty, judgment, disappointment, not being enough, losing belonging. That's compassionate curiosity. From there, we can ask, what do I want to do intentionally? Do I want to rest, pause? Do I want to prepare further? Do I want to speak up? Ask for what I want? Do I want to set a boundary? Do I want to move forward scared or have the hard conversation or do the thing anyway? Choosing intentionally, that's alignment. Success and alignment are not about never feeling fear. They're about noticing what fear is doing and choosing intentionally. One thing I see all the time with my clients is that once they name their survival mechanism, it's like the lights come on. They report back that they have started seeing it everywhere at work, in relationships, in conversations, in procrastination, in over planning, in people pleasing, in silence, in stress, in over functioning, in disappearing, in exploding. And this matters. It doesn't mean things got worse. It just means your awareness has changed. You're finally seeing a pattern that was already there. And that's not a bad thing because once the lights come on, choice begins. That's where real change starts. Now, let me come back to the survival mechanism of mine I teased earlier. I call this one lazy locomotive. When fear kicks up, I tend to go one of two ways. I either put my head in the sand, avoid, delay, I don't want to think about it, look at it, deal with it. Or I go into hyperaction mode. I overplan, I overtrack, I overprepare. I create all of the systems. I automate as much as possible. I map out everything before I even start. And over the years, I've learned something important. For me, sometimes Procrastination and over planning are fear. Wearing different outfits. That taught me a lot. Starting this podcast was the perfect example. Lazy Locomotive absolutely wanted me to over plan. It wanted to outline every episode, to re-outline it, to question the name, to create the intro, to question the intro, to wonder if I had enough to say, build the spreadsheets, think about content strategy, figure out the perfect launch. And honestly, I let myself do some of that. I gave myself a day or two to prepare. And I may still choose to do that as we continue forward and more episodes come out and need to be recorded. But now I can ask, am I choosing preparation intentionally? Do I actually need more prep work? Or is fear disguising itself as productivity? It's a big difference. Eventually, I say, okay, this is fear. This is Lazy Locomotive doing its thing. I'm fine. Now let's record the freaking podcast. Another one of my survival mechanisms I call disappearing dynamite. Now, this one often shows up in relationships or interactions with people. When fear gets activated, I either disappear, looks like getting quiet, hiding, shrinking, withdrawing, or I explode. All of the thoughts, all the feelings, sometimes less kindly than I'd like. Neither one is me at my best. They're both protection. One is protecting me through silence, one is protecting me through force. Now I can notice, oh, that's just disappearing dynamite. Fear is here. Now, what do I want to choose? Maybe this is a safe place to speak up. Maybe this actually feels unsafe and I need space. Maybe this fear feels bigger than it actually is. Now I'm choosing intentionally, and that changes everything. So I'd love to leave you with a few questions. The first, where does your survival mechanism or how does your survival mechanism show up most? Do you overplan, procrastinate? Do you people please? Do you disappear, explode, overfunction, stay busy, avoid? What do people close to you already notice? The next question is, what is this trying to protect me from or make me aware of? And then, is this pattern or behavior helping me? Or is it keeping me stuck? And most importantly, what would it look like to notice the fear, to honor the fear, and choose intentionally how to move forward? Last episode, we talked about paying attention. This is one of the biggest things worth paying attention to. Your fear, your patterns, your protective responses, because once we can start to notice them, we stop automatically becoming them. And that's where change starts. Fear will always show up. You are always going to want to try something new or meet someone new or do something different. The goal isn't to eliminate the fear that shows up. The goal is to work with it and choose the way forward intentionally. I am so glad that you're here, friends. I hope this was helpful. Take care, be well, and I'll see you next time.